WW2 Veteran. What is your name?
Robert L. Crady Sr.
How old are you?
I'm 76.
What years were you in service?
Well, I started out in the National Guards before World War II. I was in the National Guard for almost 2 years, and they took us into federal service, and we went to Camp Shelby, Mississippi, and we were down there in training, and then we got a bunch of draftees. They started a draft while we was down there, and they sent us a bunch of draftees to train and to fit in with our unit. So we trained them, and then we went on maneuvers and things down there, just the same as if we were in a war. And then they said that we were going to go to the Philippines. So we left there in Camp Shelby, and it was the 1st of December, or around the 1st, I don't know exactly what it was. It was right before Pearl Harbor. And anyway, we'd been down there for 9 months, and we were supposed to get out of the Army, put back go back to our National Guard unit after we get out of federal service. But they loaded us all up, and after we'd been there 9 months, and we were supposed to go to the Philippines, which we thought something was funny, because if we're only going to be, the time we get to the Philippines, well, it'd be time for us to come back home. Our year had been up probably. And that's all we were supposed to be in the federal service was a year. So everybody thought, well, there's something more to this, and I think they knew a war was going to come or something, the way it seemed to us. But anyway, we left there, and we went to Oakland, California. Oakland, Oregon. And in Oakland, Oregon, we got on a boat and went out over to San Francisco. And we got on an old boat, which had been sunk once. It's USS Johnson. It had been sunk and raised up. And they put outhouses out on the top deck, just like regular outhouses you see in the country. And so we got on that, and we headed out for Hawaii first, and we were going to go to the Philippines from there. But that was on about December the 5th, probably, when we left there and headed for Hawaii. Well, we got 200 miles out, and it come on the radio that Japan had hit Pearl Harbor. So here, this old boat we had, it was doing good to float, let alone doing any speed. So you go out on the deck, and everything being washed around out in the outhouses. It was a mess. Anyway, you had to go down there, you had to wait till the ship rolled and run around out. They had a trough out toward the side of the boat, out each out.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got 200 miles out, and this program come on, and the radio come on, said they hit Pearl Harbor, and we were 200 miles out. So there was submarines, got subs around, and they had sent our equipment on ahead, a lot of it, and the ship they sent ahead of us got sunk. So they knew this, so they turned us around. We took off back for San Francisco, and that ship, you could feel it trembling all over. And guys would come up out of there, the guys that was foreign ballers and everything, they'd say, "This thing's going to blow up." Said, "We're going as fast as we can," and you could tell the way the ship was vibrating. Said, captain hollering for more steam. So if we couldn't get any more steam, we were going faster than we could go. But anyway, we got back to to San Francisco. We stayed there a couple of days, and they took the artillery guns we had and put them up on the deck of this Magnolia. It was a luxury liner. It had ballrooms on it, the elevators and steam rooms and a swimming pool and all that. Well, they boarded all that up and put bunks where they'd been. And they just done that in 2 or 3 days that we was there. So we got on it, and it was a fast ship. They had staterooms on it where a lot of the movie stars had traveled in over there in. And we was in a stateroom, but it had bunks in there then. That Loretta Young, a bunch of them that used when they went over. But anyway, we took off for Hawaii then. And, they zigzagged all the way because that way they were fast enough that the subs couldn't catch us, and they'd have to hit us from the side. So they zigzagged so they didn't know where to fire. But if they didn't fire, they'd still miss us with the zigzag. Anyway, we didn't have any problems from there to Hawaii. We got in there at night, couldn't see nothing, and a lot of ships in the harbor were still burning where they had hit. And so they pulled in when the weave to get through the ships that were sunk. Got in there into the docking, and it was dark. You couldn't have any lights on the counter. They was afraid to have aerators or something, or they could see what they was firing at. So our popping drums at. So they had a blackout in Hawaii every night. No lights allowed. And so they tell you go so many steps down. After we got off the boat, they say go in down the steps, so many steps, and turn left, and go so many steps. And you just feel your way along. And a lot of guys instead of turn right, turn left, and they fell off in the water. I didn't know they're right from left, I guess. So, anyway, then we got off there. We got a little old train that used them cane wheels. And we got on it, and Schofield Berries wasn't about a mile from there, but it took us about, and I must have went around about way, because we was on this little train for an hour or better, and all bundled up inside there with a whole bunch of them. I was sitting on top of a duffel bag, and I couldn't move with so many of us in there. When we got to Schofield Barracks, and we got off the train, and we marched down to all the buildings. Everything was dark. We went inside, and had this big room, had all these beds in there for everybody. And we got in the bed, and he said, "You want to hear all this stuff?"
Yeah, let's go.
And when we got in the bed, everybody started hollering and everything, and I had a flashlight, but you wasn't supposed to have any lights. But anyway, I took and got out of the cover and turned the flashlight on, and all the beds were full of bed bugs. Just all the springs, it was just full of bed bugs. So I took I was smoke then, and I had a cigarette lighter. I took a cigarette lighter, went along all the bed springs on mine, and burned all the bed bugs out of the springs. And then I was all wore out, so everybody went to sleep. I woke up, couldn't breathe, and they were in there fumigating the place, and we wasn't even out of bed yet. But it didn't take very long for everybody to come out of bed. And they were killing the bed bugs while we were still in bed. Anyway, I got out of there, and so then they took us the next day, and we went out on the coast out at right past White line towards Helena and we were on the island of Oahu. That's where well, it's a little village out there. And we set our guns, these artillery guns up, all the way across that end of the island. Because they figured that after the Japanese hit with their planes, they'd probably send troops. And so we were supposed to stop them if they did. But anyway, we were there, I guess, I don't know exactly how many, how long we were there. But we were there for quite a while. I say about maybe a year, or 8 or 9 months to a year. And they said that we were going to go to Holland, yeah, but really we were going to the Philippines. That's where our original. And the fact is, when we left the States, we were supposed to lift about 3 weeks earlier than we left. And if we had, well, we would have got caught in the Philippines, because we would have been there. We were just lucky that something happened. They changed their orders and delayed it. And that way we didn't get, because everybody that was in the Philippines got captured or killed. So we were lucky that way. But anyway,
We're supposed to go to the Philippines.
yeah, so they, while I was there, they took me and a few more, and we went over to, they brought a bunch of guys, people, other troops in, and they had the guns set up at other places. They just brought them in, and me and 2 or 3 others went over to check all our equipment out in their trucks, and their tractors and things. And I was in that outfit for a while, for about, I don't know, 3 months, I guess. And then I came back to my own outfit. Yeah. And when I came back to my own outfit, then they said, well, you want to go to, I was in a motor school, I was a mechanic then. Said, they wanted to send us to engineering school. So 2 of us had to go to engineering school. We got over there, and where you drive bulldozers and everything, we made an airfield on top of the mountain. I was out top of the mountain. And, and you work on the bulldozers and everything. And so I went back, we didn't get any pay, and so I went back to my outfit, and they didn't even know where we sat. They lost us. So I didn't get any pay till, if I had one over it, I didn't work any pay. Anyway, and then they found out where we was, well, I got my pay. So anyway, then we got those guys straightened out, and we went back to our outfit. And then they bundled us up, and we were going to, like I say, the Yap. The island Yap, which is a little bitty island. Anyway, we loaded on these troop transports, and as far as you can see, there's ships get out on the water. There were ships all over the water. Every place, big ships full of troops. And we knew that something, that we wasn't going to go to no little island yet with all these troops. The island wasn't that big, we couldn't get all of them on there. But we did go to Yap, and we got off. We got to Anyway Tuck, and we got off to Yap. And then they had a big beer party at Yap, and they put everybody wanted to go, got off on the land, and they sent in cases of beer. And these landing craft bring it in, and you could have all the beer you want. Trouble, it was hot. There was no ice. Well, everybody grabbed a case of beer, and everybody got all stewed up. So they had to go back to the ship, and some of them couldn't even walk. And they turn the crane around, drop it down with the cargo net, and they'd pile them in there and lift them up, take them up on the ship. And a lot of them had this beer all in their shirts. And they tried to come on, and they fall. And one of somebody got hurt on them, but because they'd fall off that cargo net, some guys would go down in between the ship and the boat we were on. was just lucky, I guess, that nobody got hurt. But anyway, finally got everybody on the ship, and they took off again, and we headed to Lady Island. That was the first island they took in the Philippines. And we pulled in there, and they had, I don't know if all these ships going. They was unloading, troops going in and landing. They on these LSTs, we only had these landing barges up on the side of them, and they take and cut them loose, and they drop over in the water, and they start the motors, and we'd all go down and land. The cargo-nets get these and go in, but the Japanese were waiting for us, and they was firing, and we had a bunch of rocket ships that fired rockets in back of us. And then back of that was battleships were firing over us. And the rockets were going over, and they was going around the ring. Every time they come up, they fired, and they go and reload a bunch of rocket ships. And then all these was going over top of it as we was going in. And the battleships were firing, and the actual cruisers were firing big shells. And finally got in the shore, and a lot of equipment was drowned with waterproof equipment, put stacks on so that it could get air if it got, the water wouldn't get the carburetor in. And anyway, we got up on the road, and we had them all along the road, the vehicles that was drowned out. So me and another boy was in our vehicles. We were getting each one started, the ones drowned out, so they could. We had the main one. The main one was the radio command car. It was drowned out. So anyway, and while we were trying to get them started, they were the Japanese up on Captain Hill or the hill there. They were firing rockets now. Not rockets, but what do you call them? They slam these shells down, and they fire back out. They were firing them at us. And these shells would hit. As soon as they hit, we start working. We hear this boy, one boy named Argo, he say, "Here comes another one," and we take off and hit the disc. Far above. He was sitting up in that command car. He never did move. He'd say, "Here come another one."
He wasn't crazy.
And so finally got that car going. We got a truck going. We finally got all of them going. And we had to. One of them had a head gasket rolled. We had to change the head gasket. And that's fast as the head gasket was ever changed, I think. Because they were far. We was in trees. That was one thing. It was martyrs what these farm is. When martyrs, the shells that hit the trains had to explode. So instead of come on down on us, they exploded up the train. We were lucky that way. So anyway, we finally get everything going. And, we went up and set our guns up back in the jungle. Then the next morning, we pulled back with all our left the gun crews and all up there. We pulled back with our trucks and everything. We had to import tractors like a tank that pulled these guns, and they had give us new guns, and new tractors and everything. So we went over. And a lot of them, we had our time starting them, but we had to work on before we could get them off the ship and get them started. But then we finally got everything set up, and they was firing it. The infantry would call down. But every night, the Japanese would try to crawl in on us. And every morning, you'd wake up, you'd shoot up in the trees, because they'd get up in the trees. You'd take our they'd shoot up in all the trees around us.
Oh, the machine gun?
With the machine guns and with the rifles, too, the automatic rifles. And so we were there for, I don't know, when we took the Philippines. And then they said, we had a lot of things happen there while we was there, but there's a wait for everything to happen. But anyway, we left there, and we went to Okinawa. That's when it was going to. Okinawa, and then after Okinawa, we were supposed to go to Japan. After we took Okinawa. But anyway, we went there to Okinawa, and we went in on the side of the island. It was coral all the way out in the water. And the Japanese had these big coastal guns, but they had them on the other side of the island because they didn't figure anybody would come in on the side with all that coral was. So they sent the sea bees in there first. And the sea bees, they blew some channels out.
Where's Stevie?
They were part of the Navy. They were more like something like commandos only. They were with the Navy. And they had boats, and they were scuba gear. They could go under the water to cut nets and do all stuff like that, like submarine nets. They could cut them, or they could put a detonating device up against a ship's side, or whatever they had to do. You never heard much about sea bees, but they were real active in World War II. And I've never run across anybody since I've been out of the Army that was in the sea bees. But I
doesn't last too long.
I know there's a lot of them was in there. Anyway, when we hit the beach. Well, they was in these landing craft, and just as soon as they hit the beach, they dropped the front, and you'd all go out there. But a lot of them, the one we was on, they dropped the front. We still way out in the water. And just as they dropped on there, everybody shoved, you had to go off of it. I went down a hole, and it must have been 10 foot deep. And everybody piled in on top of me. And there's a lot of us squirming around there trying to get up out of that hole. And well, we hadn't drowned some of them, but anyway, we finally got out there, and after you get out of that hole, out of it, you could walk. But the Japanese didn't give us really any whole resistance, because they had all their firepower and everything on the other side of the island.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we all got some of our equipment was started, and I was working on it, trying to get it started. Some of it was shoved out of the way with a bulldozer, just shoved it off the water to get it out of the way so we get the other equipment off, because it was blocking everything. So we took the bulldozer and shoved the other stuff off in the water, the ones that wouldn't start. And then we come on, got all the rest of the stuff off. And we went on into I never seen any dead Japanese or anything until I see mostly dead civilians. And I don't know what they were doing out in these fields and places. And I guess they just after seeing what was happening, got hit or something. But anyway, we went up to kept going up farther all around. We'd fire, and then they set the guns up, and they'd call for fire, and they'd fire on this point or that point. And then a couple of days, we'd move on up. Finally got up this hill. Hill was, they had it all full of tunnels. So that's where we were at. I don't know how long I was there when it was firing on the, but we had quite a few got hit, when we was going up that way. And then they said, come around and said they was going to have a cavalry coming back to the States. There'd just be so many men out of each outfit would come back to the States and make up a new outfit and then go back over there.
Yeah.
Well, I was the one they picked to come back to the States. So I had an M4 tractor were down. And I had a canvas up over it. And they told me I couldn't go back to state unless I got that tractor going. And I had the transmission tore out of it. So I was working at night, me and another boy, Losi, but he wasn't going to go, but me and him was mechanics, so he worked with me. So we worked at night, and while we were working, the Japanese fire spotter planes went flying around over the top of it. It's like these little old planes you see.
Yeah, the one personal ones.
Cassessa and them little planes, that's what they look like.
Yeah.
And we had them too, that spotted for the electrician, the artillery.
Yeah.
They'd call in that radio in that there was that one at the far at this point. And that's what Japanese did. They was flying them around to locate our artillery.
Yeah.
But anyway, we had a generator. As soon as we'd hear the noise, well, we cut the lights because we was under that canvas, and we go wait until he'd fly on by, and you could look up and see him. He'd be looking over the side of the plane. And as soon as he was gone, then we turned my lights back on.
Keep working.
Keep working, and we had the tractor going the next morning. It was ready to run.
Another fast transmission job, right?
That was a fast transmission. And so we got in the truck, and some of the boys got killed that night from sniper fire and from some artillery fire they fired at. So they had them laying down the bottom of the truck. And we got in the truck, we was sitting up in the truck, and we headed down to the beach. And wow, about that time, they'd got all these big coastal guns turned around so they'd fire inland from the other side of the island.
Yeah.
And they must just got them turned around when we got down to the beach. Where they had this tent set up for deportation. People was going back. And so these big artillery guns, these big coastal guns started firing. Anyway, when we went down there, we went to these tents and things. And then they took the boys up to the graveyard, and they just had a great big hole dug out, and they lay them and put a little dirt on them, put some dirt over it, and they wrap them up with body bag, like. And then when they get all the holes filled up, there's a lot of bodies, and they take the door, we cover the whole thing. Yeah. That's where they bury them. And then take time bury one at a time. And but anyway, we had a lot of air raids and everything while I was there. Before we went down to the beach, and I stepped the outfit. And we're right there close to us was these tombs. They were real painted on the outside. And when these people that lived there, the Okinawans, when one of them died, they would cremate them and put them in jars and put them in these tombs. And these tombs are all painted up real pretty on the outside. They're lacking in hill. Looked like I don't know, go-go clubs or something. Anyway, they'd start fire. Well, I'd go in one of these tombs. Because it was underground like an air raid shelter.
Pretty safe then.
Yeah, it's pretty safe. Yeah. But anyway, they're always down there at the beach where they start firing out the big coastal guns. And when that shell hit it, boy, whole out big as this room. It was enormous, boy. Them was big shells. And you could, one hit 100 foot for you, it would jar you to death. And they had trenches dug. We'd run, get in the trenches. Well, we finally, the next morning, they start firing back at them. Anyway, got them stopped some way. Our planes had planes in there. But we got on the ship, and then they had these suicide planes that come in. Yeah. And that was the only time I ever thought about getting killed. Was when we got on this ship, and the suicide planes coming in there. And we took off out of that harbor. One of the planes come flying across there, a suicide plane. And there was a bunch of guys standing along the rail, and the plane come in, and in the back of them, they turned around and looked. And they all jumped right over the rail into the water, and it's about I guess 40 feet down the water.
Yeah.
And ship. Anyway, they dived in the water, jumped in. And the plane would have took them off there if they hadn't, but it took the rail. It missed us and went on over and hit the water and it went on down. Everything didn't come back up. It didn't explode or nothing. But some of them, some of the other ships did hit the ships and explode. And but anyway, we were lucky. And then we finally got out the ocean where they had some escort, and then we took off and we got to an island of Eniwetok. Got off the ship there, and my stomach was hurting. I had an ulcer. That's what I found out after I got to Eniwetok.
Sure.
They wanted to know if I wanted to stay there and tree drain. I said, heck no, I was headed home. And when we was over there, see, MacArthur had a point system. He had so many points, you could get out of the Army.
Yeah.
But over there in Pacific, MacArthur wouldn't let anybody out. He said he wasn't going to let anybody out and have to train people over again. Mm-hmm. So he'd keep them over. So after I got to Eniwetok, I went back to the ship and got on it. And my stomach was hurting. If I drank beer, well, it would feel good. It hurt. But that's probably the worst thing I could do for it. But anyway, I got back and got up to, we come in at, in the United States up in Oregon. Came back to Cape Vancouver, Washington. We came up to a river, and we went 100 miles up the river to Cape Vancouver, Washington. And we stayed there a couple of days, and then we got in trucks and drove over to Washington. I don't remember the name of that. Anyway, there we got on the train, and we stayed there a couple of days. And we got on a train and came back to Cape Atterbury up here in Indiana. And then they asked us if we wanted to get out of the Army. Because we had plenty of points. We had twice as many as we needed. So we told them, yeah, I want to get out. We didn't look at them. So anyway, that's where I was discharged. Came to Atterbury, and they gave me so much money. I don't remember what it was. New uniform and everything. And I got on a train and come to Louisville.
What year was this?
Huh?
What year was this?
In 1945. So I was over there from December 7th to about June the 1st of 45. And then I got out of the Army then. I guess that's all. There's a lot of things happening. Is that still good? That tape?
Yeah. What was your position in the Army, in the service?
I was a motor sergeant and mechanic on all equipment that artillery uses.
And that was your main service?
Yeah, I had a bunch of drivers that it was under me, and I was in charge of keeping all the vehicles and things going.
You answered that. How old were you when you started in the service?
How old? In the National Guard or in Federal Service? I was just 18 when I went in the National Guard.
And then when did you get drafted? Or when did you get pulled in the service?
I was in the National Guard about a year and a half, or maybe 2 years before. I was about 20 when I went into the Federal Service, when we got into it. Because we had went on training up in Wisconsin while I was in the National Guard. Right before, when we came back, then they took us to the Federal Service and sent us in. But we'd have been up in Wisconsin on training for a week. And when I was in the Guard, well, I must have been in there about 2 years because every year we'd go to Fort Knox for a week's training. And that one year, instead of going to Fort Knox, we went up to Wisconsin training.
What was the worst part of the war that you remember?
The first part.
Yeah.
When it's coming home.
With the suicide planes?
When the suicide planes comes over, yeah.
All right. What was the most memorable part of the war to you?
I guess going into, when we got to Hawaii, when we get to leave and we go into town, we seen all the islands. And then, as one memorable time, and another was when I was down at Cape Shell, Mississippi, used to go to Gulfport, Mississippi, and Marinas, and down at the beach and everything.
Yeah.
And we had a good time down there.
What were you most scared of during the war? Part of the suicide planes?
Suicide planes, when they were that, I really figured I just want to get home.
What did you look forward to the most during the war?
What did I look forward to?
Yeah.
I don't know, really.
Going home?
I was looking forward to the day I come home. Yeah.
That's it. Thanks, Pete, for your time.
Yeah.